Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome back to our channel once again. I was following the Rigathi Gachagua's impeachment proceedings at the Senate, and I'm shocked just like everyone because Rigathi Gachagua has gone missing. And Paul Muite has notified the Senate that Rigathi Gachagua has been taken ill. And therefore, Rigathi Gachagua technically cannot respond or cannot be cross-examined. And because in this channel, I've always told you that in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence. And that everything in politics is normally well planned, well scripted, and executed to achieve a specific political objective. There is a reason why Rigathi Gachagua and the team decided that Rigathi Gachagua was going to be the only person, the only witness in this case. So the biggest question now is, why would Rigathi Gachagua fail to defend himself in this matter? And what would be the legal implication of Rigathi Gachagua's absence? I spoke to one of my friends who works there and is actually there. And by the time I was calling him, Rigathi Gachagua had not appeared. And he told me that the reason why Rigathi Gachagua has not appeared is because he wanted to create this kind of a situation. But he also confirmed to me that Rigathi Gachagua is actually suffering from pressure. He's in a situation where on one hand, his members of staff, several of them, are going to lose their jobs. He's also in a situation where he's looking at his own personal interest. In this case, his interest is contesting for the future. And that's why he wanted to resign. And also he's in a situation where after the presentation of the presentations before the Senate, it is very evident before Kenyans that Rigathi Gachagua is just being accused for no reason, and that the proceedings is just a political process. So he was undecided on what to do. Now let us get back to why Rigathi Gachagua, in my view, is actually missing. In my view, Rigathi Gachagua is missing because, number one, he wanted to create some technicalities. William Ruto is determined to send Rigathi Gachagua home. And Parliament has already prepared a gazette notice. They have names of the person who is going to replace Rigathi Gachagua. The robots in Parliament have been switched on, and they're just waiting for the Senate to make the ruling. And immediately the Senate are going to make the ruling. Tomorrow they'll be convening the House. And probably they're going to present the name of the new deputy president. So what Rigathi Gachagua has done is that he's trying to mark time. So that even if these guys were to allow him back because he's sick, he's going to get some medical records that he was taken ill, nobody will argue with that. So a technicality will arise that his 3 hours, he was supposed to be given some 2 hours, his 2 hours. So those 2 hours might actually elapse the next day. Yeah, so we wanted to create that technicality so that to prevent members of Parliament from presenting new dates. Because you see, William Ruto is keen, and William Ruto is very ruthless. He wants a situation where Rigathi Gachagua will not have any chance to file a petition in court. Why am I saying this? He wants the Senate to disperse this matter. Parliament will come up with a new name. That new name will be cleared by tomorrow. Saturday they'll play around. Courts will not receive any petition. By the time Kenyans will realize, a new deputy president will be in place. So that's, in my view, number one, technicality. Number two, Rigathi Gachagua, based on my own understanding, is also trying to go through a court process. Remember, Johnson Sakaja was also absent yesterday. And Johnson Sakaja was one of the witnesses for the National Assembly. he was absent. And Rigathi wants to take this matter to the court because already the speaker has agreed that the affidavit by Sakaja will form part of these proceedings, so that it will be upon the senators to decide that whatever Sakaja said without any cross examination is actually true. So Rigathi Gachagua is creating the ground for his court case. And I think this is something which they actually planned so well, to an extent that it was only Rigathi Gachagua was going to be the single witness in the case. We are still waiting for the ruling by the speaker, but in my view, Rigathi Gachagua is doing something which has never happened. In fact, if you listen to even the lawyers, they're like, this kind of a situation has never presented itself anywhere in the world, which means Rigathi Gachagua is also creating a precedent. Rigathi Gachagua is aware of the plans by the president, what the president is planning. And of course, remember, I was talking to someone who also told me that Rigathi Gachagua had actually planned to resign, and that he was going to go to before the Senate. He was going to defend himself. Then towards the end of his submission, he was going to present his resignation. That personally I've decided to resign because this matter here is a political process, and therefore being a political process, the outcome is already predetermined. So his intention was to resign after exposing, just hold on. Funga kidogo. Hold on. Funga kwanza. Sorry. I'm actually in a school here where I've come. My boy and they're playing, so he just arrived. And you know, YouTube might not allow me to play to show the faces of the children, so they'll stay a bit. So we're saying, I don't know, I've lost my thought process, but I was saying Rigathi Gachagua wants to create that technicality, and then he will use those grounds that he was never granted any opportunity to defend himself. Ladies and gentlemen, what is your thought in all this? Because for me, Rigathi Gachagua has really played it smart. This case here has a predetermined outcome. By the way, I've gotten back my flow of thoughts. I was saying Rigathi Gachagua was planning to resign just towards the end of this proceeding. He was planning to resign. And by resigning, it would mean that he will be able to contest in future what he wanted to achieve. Number two, he had taken the matter now before the public. And the public, if you ask them, they can actually tell you that there was no case here. Even the lawyers for the National Assembly are very clear that this matter is a political process, so that they don't need to prove that everything that Rigathi Gachagua is being accused of were actually true or false. They only need to accomplish that mission. So ladies and gentlemen, let me rush back home and probably figure out this whole thing after making some calls. But I thought it was just nice to talk about it right now. Until that time, this is Makwiny. Bye-bye.